So, all right. There's people in the waiting room. We have an audience.
Well, we've got 5 minutes. If anybody needs to go to the bathroom or get a drink of water or anything like that, now's a good time to do it. And then Jonathan and Griffin, if you make sure you're here right when we begin, we'll need you.
Okay, I'm great gratitude to all of you. Get some food, go to the bathroom, do your thing.
Mel, I see Van Cedric Williams in the waiting room, so I'll let him in, and then if you could make him a moderator or co-host. Mel, are you here?
Mel, did you hear that? Mel?
He must have stepped away for a minute too.
We can't make him. Mel, are you there?
I'll make sure it's sorted.
Okay, I just wanted to talk to Mr. Williams.
Mr. Williams is in the room now.
Okay. Mr. Williams, I want to welcome you.
He may not be able to unmute himself. We're working on
Okay.
it. Mr. Williams.
Hey, Mr. Williams, welcome.
And us to allow this conference to happen and to pay the youth for the hard work that they have put in and all the time that they have worked to make sure this happens. I also want to thank OUSD. I graduated from whatever you're witnessing us on. But for all the people who do the survey, we will be choosing 3 people to get $30 gift cards. So please fill out the pre-survey, which is the one we put in the chat right now. We'll have a post-survey that comes in later. You fill those both out. And while we do that, we will have a video playing. And so it will take 3 minutes. We have a video about the Vision Quilt panels that have been made by students and community members, and including youth from Camp Sweeney and some inmates from San Quentin. So we're going to play this video that was created by Diana Garcia with beats by Jay Prado. And as that video plays for the next 3 minutes, we ask that you use the chat, the link that's in the chat to fill out the survey. Sorry, we're experiencing some technical difficulties with the audio right now. But let's just enjoy the visuals, take it in. How does what you see in these panels reflect the environment that you live in and affect the communities that we're from? How might this affect the youth in your communities? What can you do to stop the gun violence? So these are some questions I want you to think about as you look at these panels that were designed by people in our community. Alrighty, that's been about 3 minutes. So I hope you've had time to fill out that survey. The link is still active. So if you didn't and you still want to qualify for that $30 gift card, please feel free to use the chat to find that link. We will be posting another link later on in the throughout the conference, and you fill out those 2 surveys. We will choose 3 people to get a $30 gift card. So let's move forward. Here are some topics that we will be covering in today's conference. So we're going to tee up some slides, and on these slides, I'm going to read off some of the things that we are going to be covering during this conference. If you didn't know, this is our 3rd conference, and so if you look back on the Instagram page or the Facebook page, you can possibly find, not possibly, you can find the recording from the first 2 conferences that we had. And I'm just going to ask that somebody tee up the slides so we can go over what today's conference is about. There we go. Next slide. So topics that we are covering in today's conference. The first one is challenges students have had with community violence during COVID-19, the loss of loved ones and classmates, domestic violence, mental health needs, and ways young people are building their resilience. Our second topic will be to highlight 3 programs that address violence and restorative justice. The first one being Teens on Target, Youth Alive, OUSD, Restorative Justice, the GCEA, Global Communication, Education, and Arts. The third topic is going to be the State of the Youth, which is our community violence during COVID-19 and our recommendations for change. Our fourth topic will be responses from adult leaders. So we have Ms. Regina Jackson, the CEO of East Oakland Youth Development Center and the chair of the Police Commission, and Mr. Van Cedric Williams, who is an OUSD school board member. And then we might possibly have an intro from Dr. Clifford Thompson of OUSD School Board. Next slide. We also have videos, spoken word, and poetry. So make sure to stay for the entire length of this conference. And we have some dynamic videos, some spoken word and poetry. There is a difference between spoken word and poetry. So stick around and you can hear all that we have to offer. So that concludes some of the things we'll be talking about during this conference. And so now I have the honor of introducing Darryl Alums, the founder of the Oakland Frontline Healers, and he's going to tell you about a dynamic coalition. So here's a video to introduce you, Darryl.
Beloved Oakland citizens, on October 10th, African American elders and credible messengers and mourning mothers join together to bless the city of Oakland and invite you to join them in a Peace in the Streets parade on November 1st, 2020 at 12 noon to start a truce citywide for peace in the streets.
You take that pain, you make it to a purpose. You take that pain, you make it to a passion. You take that pain, you make it to prosperity. But you take that pain and you make it a power. You out here in these streets of fighting daily. No justice, no peace.
We must.
That was our video introduction. And now I'm passing the mic over to Darryl.
Y'all didn't tell me I was gonna do all that, man. Like, man, it's, wow, man, it's something different to see yourself. You know what I mean? So let me do what I do, man. This is the work that we do right here. This is the work that we do right here. You know what I'm saying? This is the work right here. These loved ones that you can see. These loved ones that have lost their lives, community gun violence, domestic violence, and some to COVID-19. These babies. Some didn't make it to 15 years old. Today would have been his 1-year anniversary. He died 2 weeks before his 16th birthday, Marquise Daniels. This year right here, 16-year-old football player at Skyline High School. Right. 2016, I lost my niece and my nephew, Kyler and Kaylee. And then I lost Reginae Jeffries. She was a hood kid. She came from 96 Birch Alma Sunnyside, my god baby. With that being said, we started a movement called Adam Mickey Village, the Stop Killing Our Kids movement. For the last 4 years, we've been supporting over 52 families that lost loved ones, community gun violence. We have brought back over 47 missing children. 80% was exposed to human trafficking. And we also have been supportive of 21 domestic violence survivors in Oakland community. In 2020, March hit, COVID hit. We had to pivot. So we hit these streets even harder. I went to the doctor one day and I have lupus. And in the doctor office, there was only one person with a face mask. That was my doctor, Dr. Jeffrey Watson. And I started calling after that, like, man, we need some face masks in our communities and the doctor offices on the streets for the frontline essential workers. We out here on a daily still serving our community, no matter if it's COVID or not. Where's our help? Where's our PPE? So I started calling and emailing. We came together over 28 organizations. And we became the Oakland Frontline Healers to support our African-American community and support our community in Oakland, California, period, point blank, by all means necessary. So today, the pivot, it was powerful because I see these youth right here, man, and they leading us today, man. And it's hard for me to even talk, so I'm about to get choked and start crying because, man, y'all are so powerful to do this here, man. This ain't about me, this is about everybody on this call right now. I see my Fremont people. We started this year off right there at Fremont High School. I see the counselor up here, the principal here, man. Love y'all, man. But we are Adam Mickey Village, the Stop Killing Our Kids movement. We are the East Oakland Pillars. We are the Oakland Frontline Healers. And now you see your youth. You see your leaders right here today that's going to lead us and get us out of this trench that we in. Violence and the COVID spread. With that being said, I'm going to pass the mic to our youth. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Thank you so much for that. But thank you, Daryl. It's just so powerful, and it's so important that we protect our youth at this time. You know, too many lives have been lost. So now I want to introduce you to an amazing program that empowers youth to be leaders in violence prevention. Here is Youth Alive.
Woo!
Great. Thank you, Jonathan. Also, thank you, Daryl, for that amazing opener. That was just inspiring, man.
Let's go, TNT.
So thank you, everyone. Hope you all are blessed and safe. Very honored to be in the presence of you all. My name is Joshua Rogers, and I serve as a violence prevention educator for Youth Alive with the group Teens on Target. Youth Alive is an organization that helps people affected by violence to heal themselves and their community. Our mission is to prevent violence and create youth leaders through programs that focus on violence prevention, also known as Teens on Target, intervention, stepping in when violence happens, and healing, helping people heal after the violence happens. Now, as I just mentioned, Teens on Target serves as the violence prevention team at Youth Alive, and as much as I would love to talk about how proud I am of our kids personally, we would much rather show than tell. So please roll the video clip.
At school, I wasn't really like a child. I didn't have the new Jordans, wearing things that normally kids like me wouldn't wear. So I used to get bullied a lot about that. I was a little oversized, not really like a cool kid. I was just like a bystander, basically.
Every day after school, we would meet up in a room, and it'd be all different types of students from Castlemont. Kids who were considered popular, kids who were considered outcasts, and new students. And we would do icebreakers because we were all a part of so many different groups, but Youth Alive was like one of those groups that actually brought us together. They would have the different signs of those different types of violence, and then we would just study up on those different types of violence. Also, we would go to different schools in the neighborhood. We would share to the kids at the schools what we learned about the different types of violence, what they are, how to prevent them.
Great. Thank you for rolling that clip. That was one of our former youth leaders, Gregory Hampton, speaking at the beginning of that video, by the way. Phenomenal, phenomenal young man. If you ever get a chance to meet him, then you will definitely see that for yourself. And now I'd like to introduce our panel for this evening, Kimberly and Miko Johnson.
Hi, sorry, my name's Kimberly. I go to Fremont and I'm part of TNT and my pronouns are she, her, hers.
Hello, everybody. My name is Miko Johnson. I go to McClymonds High School. I'm a senior, and I'm in 12th grade.
Perfect, perfect. Thank you. And just to take a brief moment, I would like to acknowledge our third panelist, Princess Papa of Castlemont, because even though she was not able to attend this event, her contributions were inspiring and invaluable, to honestly say the least. Very proud of her. So just to kick this off with Kimberly and Miko, we just watched a video on what Teens on Target is. So I'd like to ask you both personally, what is TNT?
Okay, well, I'll go first. So TNT is basically just helping, it's a organization that helps people heal from the harm that was caused to them. But I also think of it as, preventing that. We go to middle schools, we talk to kids about everything in our community, and then we really try to go out there and just tell them what the consequences might be and just giving them warnings from our personal experiences. But we're not trying to pressure anybody. We're just trying to, show the love for this community.
I was new to TNT, but what I think TNT is, I think it's a support system. Like, it helps with people as having any type of problems or anything. Like, it's a lot that's happening now. So like with TNT coming around, it actually helps a lot. It gives a lot of support to everybody that needs help and like with any problems that they have.
No doubt, no doubt. Thank you both. So how does talking about violence and the causes of violence help with these presentations in these middle school students? Because that is a very large aspect of the work that we actually do here with Teens on Target.
Well, yeah, Josh. So I feel like it really helps middle schoolers to talk about this because we don't get this space to talk about in real school. We talk about math, we talk about English, but we never talk about the real life. We never talk about what we go through when we go out there, when we step out of that space. So that's why we give them that space after school. We give them that space to just chill and vibe with us. And, if they end up going to one of our high schools like Fremont, Castlemont, they could totally join. And I just feel really proud of being part of this because like Miko said, it gives them a support system there. And I'll pass it to Miko.
For me, I think it's important to give the youth somebody to talk to with TNT being involved and like telling them about all the problems that's happening. It can actually impact their life and it could change a lot of the youth's lives because there's a lot that happens in East and West Oakland, all around Oakland really. And I feel like if we have programs like this that could talk to younger kids and tell them right from wrong and tell them like how to do things and how not to do things, it actually impact a lot of Oakland. It make Oakland a better place for everybody.
That's real. Thank you. Thank you. Why is TNT's work so important, especially now in this day and age?
Josh, I could talk about this all day, honestly, but we only have a certain time. But I think that, basically right now is the most important time to get that outlet, get that space to talk about, all the violence happening. And I've seen violence increase during this time because people don't have that outlet. People don't have the school, don't have the friends to hang out with because of Corona. And it is hard doing it online. You don't have that connection. You don't have that feeling of looking up to someone through, the computer. But right now, just providing that space and giving resources to kids and resources to teens is the best possible thing we could do at this time.
I think it's important because there's a COVID going on. Everybody's locked in the house. Nobody could do nothing. And with nobody being able to do nothing, like with the generation I was raised in, like it's a lot of us that just want to be out and have fun and do stuff, but we can't because of the COVID. So like with this program, it actually helps with people that's having problems with that because it's a lot that happens now that like people are locked in the house, they can't do that much. And it's like it plays mind games on people when they can't go outside and do nothing. Definitely for the youth because then it's like, what do I supposed to do? I can't go outside because this might happen, that might happen. Like you have to have somebody to talk to about this stuff and be able to be able to still interact with people even though you can't interact with them physically. You can still interact with them verbally and over the computer or anything.
Big facts, big facts. Thank you. So, just have one final question for you both. What is the biggest lesson you learned from being a part of Teens on Target?
Well, okay, so for me, it was a little different. I didn't grow up here. I grew up in Hayward, a little bit calmer. I'm not sure. But it really opened my eyes because when I first came here, I thought it was calm. I thought it was this and that because I do live in a very calm area. But once I joined TNT and they started explaining to me all of this, like what people really go through, we saw videos, we saw stories, and then now we're gonna hear like in this or in this presentations conference, we're gonna hear very powerful stories. So that just really let me know about the community we're in. But it also let me know that this community is built out of great people. A lot of people have came from here and gone to be great, successful people. So TNT really opened my eyes to the kinds of people that grow up here and the outlets that we provide like TNT. That's what makes those great people. And I just really, really enjoy being in TNT. I'll pass it to Mika.
For me, like this was like TNT was very impacting to me because like Daryl said, all the lost people that we have, like so today is actually one of my closest friends, Candlelight. And so it's a lot that happens. So it's like if you have a program like this, it can actually impact your life in a lot of different ways. Like I lost family and friends, so it's like with me being able to talk about it with other people, it actually has me open up, and I could like do a whole lot more. And with people opening up to this program, it actually can do a lot for Oakland because it's a lot of people that stay closed and they don't like talking about nothing. But with programs like this, it can actually open up more people and it could bring Oakland closer together.
Man, I'm proud of y'all. I appreciate y'all. For real, I want to thank you both for conducting this amazing panel and just taking time to share the truth about your lives and your purpose and where you're going. Y'all both have a very bright future in front of you. Now, y'all, before we finish, we would like to showcase a piece of art created by TNT's own Selena Santiago with a description read by Kimberly. So I'm gonna pass the mic over to her.
Okay, so Selena Santiago, I'm personally friends with her. She goes to Fremont. So let me read this. This is from her. So the islands represent the programs in which help the youth. So you see the islands right there. One of them has no people, which means that's to represent the programs that aren't funded, the programs that are being canceled, the programs that didn't get to reach out to those people. The people walking along the stone paths are to represent the people who are stuck on the cycle of any form of abuse. It's like physical, the ones without blindfolds is to represent the people who are noticing the systematic oppression and are looking for a way out. The shadows include the people reaching up from the bottom, and then the larger ones, which are visibly people arguing and drinking. Those are just to represent forms of abuse or just negative situations in the community. People not able to reach programs like GCEA, which we'll hear about a little bit after this, and Youth Alive, which is Teens on Target. After that, we have the wolves, the alphas and the omegas. This is to represent our social hierarchy in which alphas basically have life made for them. Meanwhile, omegas are the lowest of the low, treated the worst and aren't giving the resources others are given. Like to take care of themselves and are constantly bullied by alphas. The eyes in the background, which are to represent the amount of pressure that the youth feel. So you see the eyes. I hope you can see them. Zoom in if you can't. You can see it at the top. There's a person sitting down on one of these paths, and that represents a person that was stuck in a cycle. So like the people walking on the path, but that person is sitting down, looking down. This is the person that is free. This is the person that got, they reached out to the sources and now they're just looking at all of this happening. So that was Selena Santiago for you. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll be passing it to, let me see. I'll be passing it to myself, sorry. So now I'm going to introduce another program, which is called Restorative Justice. It's based on some of the OUSD schools. And I'll be introducing myself again. My name's Kimberly and I go to Fremont. And then Valeria, could you please introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, my name is Valeria Amala. I am a junior at Oakland Technical High School. And I'd like to bring to you what restorative justice is today. Restorative justice is a philosophy, a group of practices that build around a safe space and respect communities for all. Restorative justice understands that conflict is a normal part of being human. Restorative justice revolves around conflict by increasing our understanding of each other instead of increasing the harm we do to one another. The philosophy of our current justice system leads us to suspend students, ignore the needs of victims, and throw people away. Restorative justice builds rather than tear people down. As Griffin mentioned when we began the conference, RJ is grounded in peacemaking traditions of Indigenous people from around the world. Many of us who are practicing RJ in Oakland do not have Indigenous ancestry that follow the approach of the Taghnish and the Tlingit First Nation people. Now you will see a video clip featuring the RJ program at Fremont High School.
Before I knew about RJ, I was a tough girl, like always fighting, getting into conflict. Like I was the one always fighting, going to the office, getting reflections, getting suspended. And then now, like, I see where other people come from and I'd be like, okay, well, don't do this, we can do this another way.
In Oakland Unified, we use a 3-tier system. So tier 1 are the practices that pretty much everybody should be doing all the time. It's relationships, that's the glue that holds us together. And when things break down, we do tier 2, so it's a triangle. Tier 2, there are fewer interventions. Ideally, there are fewer interventions. Those would be mediations, harm circles, conflict circles.
How restorative justice has impacted them personally.
Okay. Well, thank you for that video, Valeria, or Fremont, I guess, Restorative Justice. Now can you put the slides back up? Thank you. Okay, so Restorative Justice has principles, and these are the principles from the Restorative Justice program at Fremont. So number 1 is to respect all. Number 2 is it builds relationships. 3 is people take responsibility for their actions. And then 4 involves everybody affected. So the sister of the sister, the cousin of the sister, and then everybody is invited to speak. Nobody is left without speaking. 6, it heals harm. Next slide. Okay, so I and Valeria will be answering these questions. So how did restorative justice impact your life? And what is the most important RJ principle and why? Okay, so I'll go first. My my experience with restorative justice was really quick. I joined this class leadership, and it introduced me to restorative justice. And I personally think that it impacted me by, not assuming things about people and waiting till I have a circle with them to, to talk to them and to get to know them. So it opened my eyes to not reading a book by its cover, basically, to put it in short terms. But the most important principle for me is respect, because for me, that's the foundation to everything. If you don't respect someone, how can you be open to their opinions? How can you be open to what they say? But thank you for that moment. I'll be passing it to Valeria.
Restorative justice impacted me by knowing it's okay to show and have emotions, that we're all human beings, and that deep down we all share a common thing, which is vulnerability. To empower and vulnerability can be such a good thing. Restorative justice also showed me that you should try to understand where someone is coming from, whether or not you know their story. It's a process to accept to be vulnerable and be around people you do not know, and it's totally worth it at the end. I believe the most important RJ principle is that it heals harm. Just by creating a connection, you no longer feel alone and sad, you feel grounded to the people around you. And back to you, Kimberly.
Thank you, Valeria. Okay, so I need the slides back up because I have a question for everybody in the audience, old, young, a baby. I have a question for you. Okay, so have you been part of a community building circle, which is restorative justice, harm or reentry circle? And if yes, how was your experience? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Tell us your thoughts, because we genuinely want to know how we can make these programs better at schools from other people's experiences. And if you weren't part of one, tell us if you would want to be part of one from our thoughts, from what you saw in the video. Does it sound fun or boring? I'll give you guys a second to please write that in the chat. And Chloe will be reading some of your guys' thoughts in the chat.
Okay, so some people said RGA circles opened my eyes in ways I'd never known that were possible and shaped me into the person I am today. Some people love the sense of community, forgiveness, and responsibility. A lot of people said again that it did open their eyes. For someone's first RJ circle, it was hard to open up, but pretty soon I learned that RJ circles are here to help me and not hurt me. Yeah, it looks like a lot of people have been in RJ circles, and it looks like they did open their eyes from the experience that they had, and they learned that it's okay to open up and that it's not going to hurt them. RJ circles are there to create a stronger community and to be there for one another. Kimberly, back to you.
Thank you, Chloe, for reading that. And thank you, everyone, for writing that in the chat. I want to screenshot and just share that with my RJ teacher or person that taught me RJ. So I'll pass it to Griffin.
Hello again, everybody. I just want to say, like, watching the chat and watching Fremont, everybody just hype up these young people has been so inspiring and so amazing to see. So that's it, right? At the end of the day, just building that community and having spaces where we can have those conversations to protect our young people. But yeah, so we wanted to highlight in this space an amazing young person that's really been through it and experienced a lot of these things firsthand. Kenny Johnson, my personal brother, my family member like that. But before we get into that interview and that panel with him, we wanted to introduce him through a video. So if you could bring that up, we'll let you know a little bit about Kenny before we get into it.
In Oakland, and part of that family is two brothers, Kenny and Rashad. They're bonded by many things, but basketball is probably the main one. Kashad currently plays at San Diego State University, and we've highlighted him on Cron 4 before. But this piece is more about Big Bro, Kenny, who is eyes of a lifetime. Kenneth Johnson, a 23-year-old Oakland native, was gifted with a state-of-the-art wheelchair to help further his dreams of becoming a high-level wheelchair basketball player.
First, I was confused. I didn't know it was mine. I just thought it was like another chair. But then once you guys actually walked up to me and was like, "This is yours," my heart kind of just dropped and was like, "It's time. It's go time. Like, it's really time for me to put that work in."
But if you know Kenny, you'd know he's been putting that work in since he was 13 years old.
I got shot 10 times. So I was just walking home, and then a black SUV rolled past me, and then they stopped. And then I ended up walking past them, and then that's when they got out the car, and they just start shooting.
Doctors told him he'd never walk again. Proved them wrong. Kenny walks with canes. It was that determination that caught the attention of Golden State Road Warrior star Art Renowitzki.
He's been coming out and amazing all of us with the Road Warriors every time he comes out and plays, because he knows the game of basketball. He's tough, plays like his brother, but just balls out.
And Kenny was doing all that in a pretty beat-up chair.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for sticking with us. I'm sorry we're having some technical
Kenny for years to come.
My son and I decided to help support the what we now call the Kenny Ray Johnson Adaptive Sports Scholarship. And we'll do it every year.
And you know the saying, look good, feel good, play good.
I feel like I could be an Olympian now. Like, the sky is the limit. Like, as long as I keep on coming out and working and putting in that work and follow people like Marcus Oden and Art, I'm gonna be good.
As you
So from that video, I know y'all got a little bit of a sense of who Kenny was, but it's hard to really explain that in such a short amount of time. So first and foremost, thank you, Brother Kenny, for coming out to have this conversation and share your piece. And if you're ready, I want to ask you the question, who are you, so the people can get to know you a little bit. You ready, Kenny?
Yep, I'm ready.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Who are you?
I'm a young black male.
Who are you?
A victim of senseless gun violence.
Who are you?
Someone that is trying to give back to the community.
Who are you?
Someone that is striving to do better at all times.
Who are you?
I'm trying to keep my head up at all times also.
Who are you?
Someone that is still healing.
And that last one, who are you, Kenny?
I am someone that is truly blessed, for sure.
Thank you. As always, you know, you my brother, so I'm honored that you're here to share. You know, like we've had conversations about, right? It's very real what you went through, and you experienced a lot of it firsthand, and we wanted to bring to light that story. So I wanted to ask you, through all of it, and especially with COVID, what's been the hardest part for you?
How you guys doing today? Again, I don't know if I said that, but definitely the hardest part right now has been just to keep a positive mindset and know that everything's going to get better eventually. I know in my case, getting out the house and being active is a big part of like my therapy and things like that. And yeah, I would say it's definitely just knowing that things are going to get better. Just to be being patient is basically the key right now.
For real. You know, and like we've talked about before as well, like with all that struggle, you have to heal from it, right? And I wanted to ask you, if you feel comfortable, what's been the most powerful and healing thing for you through all the process?
I feel like the healing circles that I've been a part of every year. On November 6th, 2011, that was the date that I got shot. I was 14 years old in the 8th grade. Ever since then, someone named Amana Harris. She runs the AHC Foundation, Attitudinal and Healing Connection Foundation. She's been coming out every day on that date to give me a healing circle, and everybody that I know, teachers, doctors, family members, and close friends, they come out and they support me on that day and say things to heal and just give that positive energy to me, and that is what gets me going and just keep on striving for better.
Thank you so much, Kenny. And like we've talked about before too, like while you're on this platform, while you have this space with all these ears and all these eyes, what do you want to say? You know, what do people need to hear?
I definitely want to say to people to never take life for granted. Just in my case, I was an innocent bystander just walking home, and I sadly was at the wrong place in the wrong time. And just to tell people to love your loved ones. Always say that you love them. You never know when you can be taken off this world. It's a crazy time that we're living in. And yeah, just never take life for granted and just keep on striving to do better and try to help the community if you can in a way.
Man, it's no words. I just want to echo everything that's been going on in the comments and just let you know, like, it's love, Kenny, you family, and we're so honored to have you here today to speak your piece and shine your light like you do. So thank you, Kenny.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
That's what's up. And so we started off by talking about the Oakland Frontline Healers, and we wanted to shout out another amazing organization that's been doing a lot of work during COVID times, and that's the Global Communications, Education, and Arts. So to shout out them and talk about it, I'll pass it off to Mahalet.
Okay, thank you, Griffin. Hi, my name is Mahalet Aklilu. I'm youth from GCEA. Global Communication, Education, and Art is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. GCEA's mission is to advocate, educate, empower, and train African immigrants and African American communities in the Bay Area. We are committed to bringing and addressing our common issues and unmet needs. Our vision is to create healthy and prosperous communities in the Bay Area. GCEA's core values are accountability, diversity, devotion, transparency, and social justice. Now I'll be passing it on to Meron.
Thank you, Mahalet. My name is Maren from the youth in the GCA. In response to the COVID-19 pandemic, GCA has adapted its program to meet immediate needs of African immigrants and African Americans directly impacted by the crisis. Passing it to Mahalet.
These are GCEA's program: food and PPE distribution, COVID health, education, immigrant social integration and settlement, COVID testing and community outreach, unemployment insurance application support and training, housing navigation and application support, intercommunal violence prevention, immigrant youth and family challenges and experiences during COVID. Now we'll show you some of GCEA's work during COVID-19. Okay, now I'll be passing it on to Yafet.
Thank you, Mahalet. Hello, everyone. My name is Yafeta Klilu, a youth from GCEA. Oakland/Bay Area is losing too many of our Black, brown, and African descent youth and loved ones due to senseless acts of violence. Families and communities as a whole are left with pain and trauma. We need a citywide united effort to solve these problems. Now I'll be passing it on to Meliab.
Thank you, Yafet. Hi, everybody. My name is Mela Musa, youth from GCA. At this conference, we didn't have enough time to plan immigrant youth challenges and experience during COVID. If we get the opportunity again, we'll present all the African immigrant youth challenges and experience during COVID at the next youth conference. Thank you for listening. Passing it on to Kimberly.
Okay, thank you. I really love the art mentioned in that video, but I know that we've given you a lot of information to the audience, TNT, GCEA, a lot, you know. So I wanted to just mention a few things. Self-care, you know. Can you put up the slides? But self-care is not selfish, you know. It says right there, self-care is not selfish. And I'm going to be asking a few questions. Think about these yourself. So if you could go back in time and tell your younger self something, whatever it is, what would it be? Please leave it in the chat. And how would it help you get where you are today, or change where you are, or where you would be today? But I'm going to be asking these questions to our young leaders. So Liana, could you please introduce yourself and answer this question? And also I wanted to ask another question for our youth leaders. How do you self-care?
Hi, my name is Leanna. And looking back, I would probably tell myself that it's okay to be vulnerable and it's okay to express your feelings and your emotions to other people around you. My self-care is really comforting others. I have a friend who her brother passed away from gun violence. And so just being her comfort provided me comfort for myself because I know that I was helping her heal and just being a support system.
Thank you, Liana. Okay, Chloe, could you please introduce yourself and answer these questions?
Hi, my name is Chloe. I'm a junior at Oakland Technical High School. And for me, if I could go back in time and tell my younger self something, I would tell myself that it's okay to show my strengths and weaknesses. I don't have to hide who I am, and it's okay to cry. And a way that I self-care is by expressing myself through culture and dance.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Okay, so Griffin, how do you self-care? And if you could answer the other question.
Definitely. I don't know if I introduced myself through all the speaking, but my name is Griffin. And one way that I self-care is like just slowing down and breathing and remembering to eat and drink water and sleep. Because with all the things that's going on with family and with community, it's easy to get lost in all that. But like, if I'm not here how I need to be, and if I'm not ready to show up, I can't show up how the world needs me to be. And so if I could talk to myself when I was younger, it'd be to slow down. You know, things are gonna happen, life's gonna move, whether or not you're ready for it. So make sure that you're ready for it. You know, and I'll pass it back to Kimberly.
Thank you for that, Griffin. Okay, so finally, we're going to ask Lizette if you could please introduce yourself and answer the question.
Hi, my name is Lisa Serrano. I'm a sophomore at Lighthouse, and if I could go back in time and tell my younger self something, I'd tell myself to be confident in who I am and to not believe what everyone says. What I do to self-care is talk to God and read the Bible.
Thank you, Lizette, and thank you all for sharing. But I want to remind the audience to please put in the chat, how do you self-care? What if someone, sometimes I'm guilty of not taking care of myself, but I want to get some ideas from all the audience. Want to see what you guys do. If you guys drink some tea, do yoga, But if you could cue the next slide after that one. Okay. So another way to just take care of yourself and do self-care during this hard time with all COVID and all these things, is to join some programs. These are some resources for programs like Teens on Target, Restorative Justice, And if you want to reach out to them, if you want to be part of this, if you like this conference so far, these are resources for you. And just remember to put your self-care regimen in the comments. Okay, so I'm going to be passing it to Valeria, which is going to introduce State of the Youth.
Hi everyone, it's Valeria again, and I bring to you State of the Youth, State of Oakland Youth, Winter 2020, addressing community violence during COVID-19. Next slide. Before COVID-19 affected us, the beautiful city of Oakland was and still is affected by more than one pandemic. During the years 2007 through 2017, there have been 44% decline in homicides, mainly due to innovative community-led programs. Oakland then became a national model for hospital-based violence intervention and violence reduction programs bloomed. Due to the worldwide pandemic, students are no longer allowed to go to safe havens such as schools and community centers. Not only have students been affected by COVID-19, but so have services from violence interrupters and community-based organizations. Since 2019, there have been an increase of 40% of homicides, and as of December 1st, there have been 113 homicides. Over more than a dozen of young people within the OUSD community lost their lives, in most cases from street-level violence in 2020. Since the start of the pandemic, 4 of the 6 killings were from students from Fremont High School, including school administrators, teachers, students, and families, and community members are suffering from these losses. Another reason how the pandemic has affected the OUSD community is by teachers, counselors, and community centers are having the most trouble reaching to the students who need the most help with insecure housing, food scarcity, lack of technology access, learning needs, those who have suffered trauma due to domestic or sexual violence, those who have lost loved ones due to gun violence, and those who are in the foster care system. 30% of the OUSD school students and students nationwide are not being engaged in school due to the pandemic and along all the racial disparities that come with it. Some things are poverty, lack of in-person mentoring, and the technology divide. Because of the students who do not finish school, they are more vulnerable to gangs, drugs, and alcohol abuse, including low wages, homelessness, and school to prison pipeline. Now let's take a look at the math. This information is from Youth Alive. To house one teen in prison for a year, it costs $80,000. To treat one injury in a hospital, it costs $40,000. To train one young leader and one peer violence educator, it costs $200 a year. Together, OUSD teachers and administrators, including community groups, work hard to involve students and help them academically and emotionally. But unfortunately, racial inequities have been built within our school and community and society. A call to action for youth leaders. Be aware about COVID safety. Practice self-care. Engage in your online classes. Get involved in being a part of school and community programs. Join a restorative justice circle or start with the RJ program. Support friends and family, those who are struggling with mental health or academics. Brainstorm ways to prevent violence. A call to action for adult leaders and allies. Give the students a chance to be heard and count their votes. Fund all restorative justice programs in all USD schools. End the technology divide. Hire and support more diverse teachers and counselors. Expand macro for people with mental health issues rather than arresting them. Train teachers, police, leaders in trauma and racial informed practices. Increase funding for Department of Violence Prevention for community-based program for underserved youth and families. Increase support and resources for victims of violent crime and trauma survivors. Thank you all for listening to Ways to Prevent Violence and Begin Restorative Justice Programs with OUSG Schools. This is the State of the Youth, Winter 2020. Now I will be turning it over to Leanna Parrish.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Valeria. We are now going to hear from two adult leaders, Regina Jackson, CEO of East Oakland Youth Development Center and Chair of Police Commission, and then Cedric Williams, educator and newly elected OUSD board member representing District 3 West Oakland. And I will also introduce to you Dr. Clifford Thompson, newly elected OUSD board member for District 7 East Oakland. So Ms. Jackson, we will start with you. Thank you for coming to listen to our concerns, and please take 1 minute to introduce yourself and what you've done for the community related to COVID safety, education, and violence prevention. And then take 5 minutes to respond to our presentations, specifically these two questions. The first one is, what is your response to what you have heard? And the second one is, what do you think is in your power to change? I'll give you a 30-second warning. Ms. Jackson?
Ms. Jackson, are you with us? Is that Regina's iPad?
That's it.
Does she have host?
She has been, yes. So as we see what's going on with Ms. Jackson and her iPad, can we have Mr. Williams?
Yeah, we can have Mr. Williams start. So would you like me to repeat the questions? Just 1 minute to introduce yourself.
I think I got you. I got you. I appreciate it, Ms. Paris. Yo, what's up, everybody? I want to thank you, Oakland Frontline Healers, just doing some powerful work. I'm Van Cedric Williams, pronouns he, his, him. Oakland School District 3 Director-elect. I will have my inauguration on January the 4th, so come check me out. Everyone's invited. Really though, I'm a 20-year educator, 17 years in the high school. Really love what I do, just really passionate. Teach social studies. I want to shout out the classified paraeducators, the security, security, the teacher aides, instructional aides, everyone that's working at the backbone of the schools, and the Oakland Public School teachers. And also, my whole point is that I'm here because it's time to change the institutional, try to dismantle institutional systemic racism in our educational policies. We need to do better for our students, and I really want to rebuild the trust between the community and OUSD. Want to invest in community schools, want to make sure we get these wraparound services. We want to end school closures. We want to build curriculum that is joyful for our young folks. So that's really what we're doing here. So that's my 1 minute, but also just talking about the program, I've been watching this whole thing. It's powerful. First thing that comes to my mind is, we got to bring this to the young folks. We got to bring it to the elementary young folks, right? Because that's really like the seeds are being planted early on. Like I'm loving all the power that's coming out on the anti-violence, but also it's about the self-love, the self-care, and to get past all these stereotypes that are pushing us back. The reason I ran for the school board really is to try to find platforms to elevate young folks, to really stop the school to prison pipeline and start to invest in our young folks. And this is what I see today. What you're doing is self-investment, self-education, and then you're spreading the love to all the other young folks and say, hey, let's get on a board. Because I'll tell you truly, you can't do it by yourself. It's collective action. It takes collective action. It takes all of us. And you have to be willing to step into the circle, a circle of love, of self-love, self-care, and healing to be able to really move these ideas forward. So I'm just so happy that I've been able to witness this, and I really want to do work with you. I really want us to come together because I want to bring this to young folks, younger folks than yourself, to the elementary young folks. So I really think that is number one. the let's see, the next part about it is, you know, what do I think in my power to change? What do I have in my power to change? You know, really, I'm really fortunate to be the next incoming board director. And what we're really going to do is start asking the school board to do more. So it's 7 of us. Not one person can do much, but you need a majority of 4 votes. And so I will really be using you as a resource. Can we come together and write resolutions? Can we come together? Can we come together to really just start to talk about what what do we want to see our schools look like for the youth of Oakland, OUSD. So I really want to bring this energy that we have, bringing new ideas, bringing new engagement, and really moving our school district to a racial justice, social lens, social practice, really just kind of bring this into every school that would be part of our community school wraparound services. So the power is not with me, it's for all of us, right? And so I just want to thank you very much for all the love you're showing. Let's do some business. Let's work together, because I think you really are a step ahead of a lot of schools, a lot of school districts. And now it's time for us to partner up to move this work. Thank you very much. And also, last but least, I just want to shout out the Native Americans. You know, always got to give props to the original folks. And the life and labor of all the folks who have come to this country that have worked and just was not given the labor or the pay that they should. That's our African ancestors and our indigenous folks. So we want to make sure we remember those who create the pathway for us. Blessings. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I really like what you said about collective action. And I also want to remind everyone, please remain muted if you're not speaking, just to be respectful for other people. And so I would now like to pose the same 2 questions to Ms. Jackson. Please take 1 minute to introduce what you've done for the community related to COVID safety, education, and violence prevention, and then take 5 minutes to answer these 2 questions. What is your response to what you've heard, and what do you think is in your power to change? Thank you for being here. I'm looking forward to what you have to say.
Thank you very much. And my apologies for not being able to pivot. I was in the midst of a coaching session. So I appreciate the other speaker for going ahead. As you know, my name is Regina Jackson, and I run by day a youth development center. It keeps saying that the host has stopped my video, so I don't know if you're hearing me or not.
I can still hear you. It keeps saying that for mine. I think it's a little bit of technical difficulties, but we can hear you. So
Okay.
just go ahead, and it might go in and out, but just keep going.
Okay. All right. Terrific. Thank you. So by day, obviously, I have the opportunity, the humble opportunity to help guide young people into leadership, into the power of their own purpose. And that's an extremely important responsibility, particularly in today's day and time with COVID and the intense isolation and all of the rules and the health perspectives. And so by night, as chair of the Oakland Police Commission, I am leading my fellow commissioners in identifying policies that can help keep especially young people safe, but all people safe, requiring their actions, the police officers' actions, to humanize people, to see them as people first. Sometimes people who are in danger or their safety is challenged, they're fearful and afraid, and some who have ominous goals in mind, you know, some that are really looking to do harm. And so in terms of trying to create paradigm shifts for the police department, giving community lessons and community perspectives around the very real trauma that people live with and how that shows up in folks is exceedingly important, because there's a real compassionate culture that has to be created and understood. And oftentimes that is the thing that informs most in terms of how people approach protecting and serving. So that's what I'm doing. Now, what do I have the power to do more or different? Well, one of the reasons that I joined the police commission is because I recognized that all of the skill building and the culture building that we were doing at the East Oakland Youth Development Center and helping our young people make better decisions about how they wanted to live, what kind of goals and dreams that they might have, that all of that could be brought to a halt. Not unlike Kenny, who said, you know, he was in the wrong place at the wrong time. But sometimes that isn't just about neighborhood violence. Sometimes it can also befall you based upon a police officer profiling you. And so what I am still able to do is to continue to use my subject matter expertise focused on young people to help highlight and empower the police to be more compassionate and recognize that that is a strength, not a weakness, to require that in their policies and protocols that protecting the sanctity of life has to be the first focus. Not just encouraging, but requiring de-escalation has to be a first focus. So in terms of leading around these policies, we actually are having an opportunity to have a very progressive voice, both in the state of California, but we also recognize that people are following us from across the country. And so when it comes to young people or people on probation or parole, people who think that they're better than other folks, people that bring criminal element, the whole concept is not here, not in my city. And making sure that the community recognizes some of this paradigm shift so that they begin to build some trust of the police, because we do recognize that there is a lot of distrust, and for good reason. And so when I listened to some of the incredible commentary that the young people had, you know, self-care kind of came up for me big, because I'm 58 years old and I've just kind of learned self-care about the last 5 years. And I love when you all said that self-care is not selfish. It is not. If you don't care for yourself first, you can't do anything for anyone else. I would like to say that I really appreciate having been asked to listen in. This was quite an empowering opportunity to sit in the background and watch all of you speak to your vulnerabilities, speak to your power. I think that I'm hoping that I haven't gone over my time, but I just want to appreciate the Oakland Frontline Healers and all of the partners. I have known of your work for a long time and expect that we will hopefully find ways to work together, because I have a population of young people that need to be aware of the various and sundry organizations. And certainly we do some restorative justice, but not on the level that y'all are bringing it. So I am empowered, I am impressed, and mostly I'm just so very confident that you young leaders are the ones that are going to be able to take over for us. Thank you so very much.
I want to thank you so very much also. Just having you here and listening in is just amazing. And I really like what you said about compassion. I think it's really important because a lot of people have trauma. And so having that compassion and understanding that there's a story behind everyone's situation just makes more people relatable to each other. So thank you so much for your words. And there's one more special guest leader here, Dr. Clifford Thompson, who was recently elected to the OUSD School Board for East Oakland. And we regret that we do not have enough time to hear your thoughts, but just please introduce yourself and share one thing that you might want to initiate as a new OUSD board member. So thank you for being here.
Well, thank you very kindly. Now, my name is Clifford Thompson, and I represent District 7. That's out here in East Oakland. Quickly, just to say that I've been in education for a long, long time. I've been a school teacher and also an administrator at McClemens and also at Oakland Tech. Just excited because I heard some wonderful, wonderful things from the young people. And if you'll allow me to say, one of the things that I want to do as a school board member is develop policy to do exactly what some of the individuals presented this evening. That is create neighborhood schools where kids can enjoy their neighborhoods again. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. You made it quick.
Yeah.
So thank you to all the youth speakers and the organizations. Thank you to our adult leaders who have joined us, listened, and responded to our recommendations. And so we're almost near the end of the conference. We have a stirring poem at the end and a message from Dara Allums. And so I'll pass it back over to Jonathan. Thank you guys so much.
Hello, everybody. Thank you again to all of our speakers just for dedicate. What? My camera off. Again, yes, just thank you so much, because I know the youth really need allies at this time. It's been so difficult. So to know that we have new leadership that's going to work with us, will work with the youth who are still in school to make change is very powerful and very reassuring. So now we have a shorter questionnaire to fill out. So please take the next, I'm gonna give you 2 minutes. We are running short on time, and I wanna make sure that I respect all of your time. I know a lot of us have Zoom fatigue. We've been on here for hours. So again, this post survey will be sent into the chat. We're gonna pull 3 people to get $30 gift cards at the end. So make sure you did the first survey, then this is the second survey. We will save the song hopefully for the end. We will close out this conference. I was gonna play some music as we did this survey, but we are short on time and I wanna respect everyone's time. So again, I hope the questionnaire has just been posted in the chat. And when you finish with the conference, we'll be playing music that is by Oakland artists. We have Wolf Hawk Jaguar, Santos Soul, and Dr. Lynn Morrow. They wrote and performed a song called I Love You. So we will play that song at the end of the conference right before we wrap up. But please get ready to do that survey, and I'll pass the mic to Angie, who will be giving us a dynamic poem. So let's give some snaps for Angie as she makes her way to the camera.
Thank you, Jonathan. Hi, my name is Angie. I'm a student at Lighthouse Charter High School, and today I'm going to be giving you guys a spoken word piece that I made especially for this conference, and I hope you guys like it. Okay, so it's called How Many? History of oppression, violence, and inequality did not start in the year of 2020. Experiences of pain, suffering, and brutality began way before Trump was elected president and long before the COVID pandemic hit. But how many times will history repeat itself? How many Black and brown hearts must you break and riots must we create in order for you to realize we are never giving up? Is it fun for you? Does it make you happy to see another Black family at a relative's funeral? To see another Latinx child separated from the family? I'm hereby not ashamed of the number of questions I am asking, because clearly you have the time, as did your people, to oppress mine. But no, don't get me wrong. Some of your people do have hearts as pure as the Black and brown races. I know you know we are all angry. How dare you try to bring us down? What in your evil mind makes you think that people of color do not deserve or aren't good enough for natural human rights? I say that a heartless man is nowhere near human himself. How many poems, songs, and sobs must you hear to feel bad? How many bodies must be buried for you to realize you are the villain? How many pieces of the puzzle are left for you to put together in order for you to see that the damage you bring upon one person, one family, damages the entire country? But hey, know that my raza stands strong. Know that Black lives matter, and most importantly, know that there will be no more times, for we the people of color will no longer let it slide. Thank you.
Thank you, Angie, for sharing that and for being so real with it, because it's true. A lot of the time we don't get to hear our stories, and the media doesn't really understand what we go through day to day from Oakland. So this is what this is about, right? Raising our voices and letting people know. So I want to thank, before we move forward, pass it off to Daryl, the ancestors, for bringing us here and for dreaming and for fighting, because one day we're going to be ancestors and one day we're going to pass it on. But before I pass it off to Daryl, I want to shout out the MLK. It's where'd it go? Hold on, I have it pulled up so I can explain it as best as I can. But it's an essay contest for the MLK. It's an MLK essay contest put on by Adamika Village, and there's prizes for it, and we can share the information in the chat so y'all can hear more about it. But that's one way to support young people who are looking for spaces to be supported. Um, and with that, I want to pass it off to Daryl to close us out.
What's up, everybody? So I hope y'all can y'all hear me? Can y'all see?
Yes, we can
Yes,
hear you.
we can hear you. Let's go. I'm right here, right now, everybody. I'm on 13th and Franklin, right here in 2016 on June 14th. A young lady died right here. Her name was Regina Jeffries. It started the movement at a candlelight visual. She got killed behind a $5 dice game. And to this day, right now, no justice. This year, on December the 1st, she was made 21 years old. And tonight, we're going to show her some love. That's Regina. That's the young lady that prays there for a friend that got drowned. Right. It's the movement. This is one of my sisters from the block, her daughter. We rock together. Leave no man behind. No justice, no peace. We can never forget about KK season, my niece and my nephew, the mystery story of Kyler and Kaylee. Then we have Pistol Pete, a 900 player, an East Oakland pillar, a pretty boy Floyd, killed this year. The first president of Adamika Village Stop Killing Our Kids movement, my cousin, Melvin Johnson, lost his life also in December of 2016. But this year, another nephew from the hood, 96 Sunny Side, Kendall, lost his life on the block where he grew up at. And then you got all these babies right here.
No justice, no peace.
And this is how we started this year. This here poster board was the first poster board ever the Adamika Village made. Remember Butterfly? Right, spent the night at her friend's house, got shot and killed. Never forget about Leah Lamar. Danielle New lost both her kids 19 days apart. I narrate this story because ain't no justice, ain't no peace. Peekaboo. My cousin Lamont. This brother right here, he's looking at a casket, right? But that's him right there. While he looking at his brother, he died 8 months later. No justice, no peace. How can we ever forget about, say her name? Now in action, Nia Wilson, my God, baby, right? Not community gun violence, but racism. And Tay, she was so pretty when she was a baby, but she died as a young lady. The princess. These are all my babies from the hood. You feel me? You say their names. Right. And then you got the tree peep right here. Lil Red, KB, Lil T, Brookfield, Flatland, 6 months apart. Ever forget about Vine World? Devon Ellis. Vine World. Vine World. My brother Joe. Right. And Julisse. So I said their names to say this here, right? We light these candles on behalf of our people. But then my mama made these, she made a flag. The red, the black, the green. Truce. Peace in the streets. We wave this flag for a purpose. We wave this flag for peace. We wave this flag for truth. We wave this flag so we want justice for our people. Regine, we will fight for justice until my last breath. Happy 21st heavenly birthday. And with that, I say to all the other loved ones that we lost out here in our community, I say to you in Oakland, stop! Kids! Stop! Kids! The proper residence royalty, because we are a kingdom. Let them go. To all our loved ones that we have lost to community gun violence, domestic violence, to violence, and to COVID-19, I say Ashe. I am Daryl Allen. I'm a credible messenger. I'm an East Oakland Pillars. I'm executive director of Advocate Village, also Oakland Frontline Healers. We are the movement, and we say stop killing our kids.
Wow, that was amazing. Thank you so much, Daryl. I remember these conferences was a call to action to our community. What's happening. And so with that said, we work on how to prevent gun violence and how are we going to heal our community. So in the spirit of love and in the spirit of being together in such difficult times, we will be ending this conference. This is our third conference with a music video called I Love You.
They say love is the answer. Missing the world, I hope I see you again someday. In isolation, trying to find the right words to say. To the rest of the world, from Oakland to the rest of the world, I love you. Down, praying that it takes its course. Reminiscing on the beautiful places, the different faces, exotic stages. This music takes its high for real. I know that fear for real, but still. They say love is the answer, they say love is the way. Missing the world, I hope I see you again someday. In isolation, trying to find the right words to say. To the rest of the world, I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. And this too shall pass. The day the world stood still, sit back and I laugh. Revelations coming fast. Everything we thought would last forever, ever. But nothing like the present. Nothing lasts forever. Life is such a present. Now look at you when you choose to be present. Wrapped up in the beauty and the love just for you. And then we stepping outside like, hey, we back on the scene. Pure love energy. Can't stop this frequency. Set the whole world free. Feel this love around the world. Send this love around the world. Feel this love around the world. Send the love around the world. I love you. I love you. I
With 6:02, that concludes our third and final conference out of all three. Thank you so much for joining us. Peace and love, everybody. Please be safe. Please share the link with friends and family, just to spread awareness about what's happening in our communities, to spread awareness about our call to action, to spread love throughout our community. And of course, happy holidays.